I don't have one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming live from space.
Coming from Star Galaxy 61-50.
47.
Guys,
47K.
Stop kidding around, guys.
Guys,
We got these dope AR goggles.
Yeah. Look at
They
how
give
dope
us-
in AR we are.
They give us an extra deep look into the waveforms.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
We have an oscilloscope built into the side.
Yeah, we
Right.
do. That's true.
Spectral analyzer on the left.
I obviously don't know.
I mean, he's worn them.
No, I haven't.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us
I have not.
introduce our guest,
Ooh, special man over here.
INRNME.
Hello?
Woo!
Let's go.
Our good friend, Aaron Harpoon.
Aaron Harpoon.
Just like,
Yeah.
at the camera or not?
You're in camera, baby. Don't worry.
Maybe.
I mean, if you want, I can do this. But
Hold, do it again.
oh.
Bobblehead Poon.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny.
Was that good?
Yeah, I liked it, actually.
Okay, good. I'll use that as the thumbnail.
He's just constantly.
This is
Actually,
the
that would be
second
a
most
great
fun episode so far.
Just cover up our guest on the thumbnail.
No, I'm just next on the thumbnail.
Oh, actually, I might have been when we were all up close. Was I covering you?
No.
Don't Monsters Inc. me, man.
Monsters
Dude,
Zinc
these
him.
things are out of control right
That's
now.
all right.
I
Dude.
don't know.
Hashtag out of
I gotta
control.
lock in the algorithm. Just a second.
Yeah, lock it
Calibrating.
in. Ladies and
Can't even
gentlemen,
reach my
welcome
buttons.
back to the Producer Lounge. This is
What's up,
episode 6.
6, yeah.
It is episode 6.
Episode 6. With our guest, INRNME, good friend of ours. We are Always 400.
Sup, y'all?
This is a podcast where we talk about music production and dubstep sometimes.
Yeah.
That's right.
That
it
part's...
could come up.
I do like
Could use-
dubstep.
Yeah, and we got the guy on here. So
We
For
got
it.
the dubstep guy.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's true.
Mm.
Although he's not.
sure.
Hey,
Let's go.
Six
Shout out
shades.
McDub, Six Shades.
Hey. Oh yeah, that's not for
True
me.
that. True
Morgan
that.
McDub's in the
Yeah.
building.
these AR goggles are bussing.
Dude,
Respectfully.
Oh, God, oh, God.
Yeah. $20, well spent.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Dude, $20, $20,000, dude.
Yeah.
Each one of these pairs.
You're right.
They were
They're
specially
AR
designed.
goggles. They're intense. There's a lot going on in these things.
Yeah.
There's like, welcome guest. Here's something you don't have.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
We just really love, and we will continue to talk about this because you don't have one.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, do you want some?
2 to 3 then. I have not worn it. So
Dude, yeah. But
They're fun.
you got to take off the headphones first.
No.
There's a button on either side.
Yeah, on both sides.
There's 2 lights.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes one will
Okay,
do
here we go.
both, but
Oh,
it's hard to get.
party poon in the building. You looking fly as hell, motherfucker.
Well, I can't hear.
Oh, wait, get your left side
I put them
blinking.
on and I can't hear.
Yeah, you don't want to get too many at 20,000 a piece.
Yeah, right.
Dubs.
There you go. They're really not comfortable.
No,
yeah, they're really
not.
uncomfortable.
You would think with the $20,000
I'm also
budget, there
dumb.
would be a little bit
Mhm.
more quality control.
Yeah.
there.
I mean, once I put the headphones on, I can keep it off my nose, and they're actually, I don't feel them at all right now,
Hmm.
which is pretty nice, except for the fact that they're very distracting in my face.
Yeah.
And the fact that the headphones keep pushing the button.
I mean, at a rave, it's like
Mhm.
you're up there. You know, you're one of those dudes. They're like, oh, that's the eyeglasses guy.
Right,
Right.
Right.
Or
You
if
know,
you wear
it's like,
them
oh my-
on stage and nobody can see your face, you just got like this crazy visor on. It's sick, dude.
Yeah, it's basically
Oh, wait,
like
Dave, turn yours off.
that's what
So you don't kill the
Marshmallow
battery?
does, right?
I
Just
mean, the
hold
battery will
hold
probably
both
last
buttons.
forever also.
They're replaceable batteries.
That's fair. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. All right,
Um,
everybody. So we're talking about dope-ass production shit today. Me and Caleb have a couple things on our mind that we would like
Mhm.
to consult with the group
You prepared?
slightly. 10 minutes before
Like-
we were like, okay, let's talk about this thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't just like you didn't dig in my Instagram, right?
Oh, that'd be a fun
Well,
little
there's
bit.
some things
It's like,
we want to talk to you about, Poon.
This is just
Poon, there's a couple
So
things
this
we'd
is
like to
just
discuss.
an intervention.
This is the intervention in front of a live audience.
Live. Coming to you live. Welcome, America, tonight.
Exactly.
Featuring.
Oh, you have a good
Will
one.
he get his life on point?
Is he the father?
Yeah. More to be followed.
Exactly him.
Yeah, that'd be a marathon, though, so nobody got time for that. It's not America's Got Talent.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
America's got
America's
talent.
Got Problems. That would be a good show.
America's got poon.
Uh,
Did not land.
What?
Okay.
no,
cool.
I was just gonna be like, I don't know if
It made
they,
his brain break.
I don't know if they should be happy. I'm like, wait, is that a compliment, or
That's
should
a-
like they be worried?
That's
That's
a
fair.
brain breaker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's up? You got questions?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd like to know
Kinda.
which lumberyard you got your shirt at.
Well, it was a gift.
I forgot that we roast on this show.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about
We
that.
always roast the
We
guests.
always roast the guests.
Hey.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
It's a good one, right?
It's a professional show, ladies
Yes.
and gentlemen.
Oh, clearly.
The amount of money
Yeah,
it takes
it's
to
pretty
put this
nice.
on is preposterous.
No, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
But if I had a pocket, see, ideally, I'd want the patch over here, the pocket over here, because
Oh, it must be a New Hampshire one then?
then you put the
Or,
flip phone in the pocket.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
East
those
Coast.
New Hampshire loggers.
Yeah.
Like, what do you put in your pocket, your shirt pocket?
Nothing.
Pens.
No, I put a flip phone in there. Like, do you actually use it?
Yeah, I just
Wow.
told you.
Why would you
Pens?
use it?
You
Don't
put-
ignore
put-
me.
You don't put pens.
Yes, I
in-
do.
Listen
When
here.
I'm at work, you've never seen me at work.
Listen here, Mr. Potato Head.
He's got a pocket protector, dude.
Bro.
Maybe
Don't
if
make
you're
me.
really steezy, you can put your
That's the
American
wrong
Spirit
one.
cigarettes in there
So is that.
and look cool.
There.
But
And then just like leave them tucked out a little bit, just
Yeah.
so you see that.
just
they're-
so people see that they're American Spirits. Yeah.
Hello.
Now what?
It's all fuzzy.
That's what I thought. Don't even try.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you.
you'll have to go over to the YouTube page and check that out because it was hilarious, I promise.
Check what out?
It was visual, though, mostly.
It is
Yeah,
pretty funny.
Oh,
If you're
That
listening
little
on,
bit.
yeah. Okay.
If you're listening on the podcast app,
Mm.
You know,
we're impressed because it doesn't seem to want to show up.
Mm-hmm. mm-hmm.
no video
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's a bummer. Has it worked before? Just let's do some
We're on
tech support,
Spotify.
okay? So
Are we?
They don't.
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
We
we're
are on
Spotify.
Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, shout
Dude,
out.
shout out. Hit that follow button.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, just go ahead and like and subscribe. Hit that follow button on your way out, man. Thanks, love you.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, huh, Poon?
Yeah.
A notification bell.
Dude, I love marketing. it's,
Hmm.
it's so good. It is.
Hmm.
What? All right, shoot a topic.
Okay. So me and David discussed this a little bit post show.
Oh wow, no,
Yeah.
that's cool, dude. I wasn't a part of
We
it.
shredded some decks.
Yeah, we shredded some decks over the weekend, folks.
That's right.
That's
what we do.
maskless. I will say that loud and proud.
Uh-oh.
Because
Yes,
as you
sir.
can see,
Take that, Hillary.
fucking American, dude.
Mm.
Even my glasses are gleaming.
Oh, sorry, wrong one.
Gleaming America right now, dude.
You don't
So-
say the wrong one.
The keyword of this discussion ended up being less shit, more bold.
Oh yeah.
So, Dave, if you want to dive into a little bit of what you were talking about, that obviously it's not the biggest topic ever, but it's a
This
good thing
is-
to cover.
Yeah, this is good. I've been thinking a lot about kind of making music specifically for playing out being a kind of an important thing if you want to kind of
Yeah, like it
get,
doesn't
figure
always.
a way to get your music out there.
You don't have to make only stuff for going out.
No, but if
You
you
need to make-
want to like get your name going, if you could play tracks out, that's a good deal.
Right.
So we were playing some tracks out for the first time, basically on some loud ass speakers.
So that's what we did.
So that's
Functions.
what we're trying to do.
Mhm.
Right.
Hey,
Yeah.
on function
And-
ones.
yeah,
Awesome.
on
Hell
function
yeah.
ones.
Function one,
Oh,
Sam.
In
The
a-
shit slapped though. It slapped.
It's that. It's that.
Got a little slappy.
It's that.
They got slappy.
Yeah, it was
We got slappy.
That's
The
right.
bitches were slappy too. You know what I'm saying?
No mask.
Don't know what
mask.
that means.
Don't know what that means.
Pretty painful, actually. They were slapping me, and
I thought I was
like,
doing
"Oh,
good, but they just
I
kept
saw a
hitting
couple
me.
backhands. Yeah.
Yeah.
You walked off stage and all the girls were just like,
I was just
disrespect.
trying to compliment their tits. Like, I don't understand what the problem was.
Yeah, they were wearing those kind of shirts. Like, come on. Come on.
Right.
Whoops.
Yeah, so one thing that I realized we were talking about that at the show is you don't really hear a lot of things in a big, loud, echoey room, the type of room you might play in when you first start playing out.
Right.
So what you need to do is make less things, less shit, and more bold centerpieced items
Mm-hmm.
that can be nice and loud and like punch you in the face
Mm.
if you're, because people like that when they're dancing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get punched in the face.
Right.
Or
Like that.
slapped, you know?
Like the one random cool guy sound, the little laser or the little weird lead line, but there's not like a bunch of shit happening.
Mm.
Okay,
You
well,
know?
what's a specific example?
It's like you do this with us all the time. What a wonderful question, Poon. Well, I don't know. What would you do?
Well, I'm trying to answer that.
Oh, you're
Well,
trying to
I'm
figure
prepping-
out what I mean?
I'm trying to hone in a little bit more.
Can you
on what
scoot
you're-
up on the mic, please?
Hi.
No, you're good. I just
Or you
wanted
could
to
scoot
Or you can
Or
hold
you
the
can
mic
scoot-
to you.
just
Yep.
So what I mean is like if you have at least from where I was sitting through the night, it was a lot of the bass and a lot of like high end, and then the mids would get lost a lot of the time.
right
on a lot of the
especially
tracks.
like the bottom mids.
Okay, well, here's
Mm.
Like
I think that's a good thing to think about, but
Mhm.
also, I mean, that's just
It's
warehouse.
not an ideal scenario.
Right.
Yeah.
no,
So
100%.
I think that's one of
Mm.
those things where it's easy to start overthinking, and you're like, don't mix to the speakers, kind of, in a way.
But you want to mix for the music to be played in a room
Correct. But
because it will always be getting roomized wherever it is.
it will.
roomized.
So that
Hashtag
It's a real word.
roomized.
yeah. No, there should always be improvement. It's just definitely that was like a completely open art gallery. And
Right.
like
Yeah.
warehousey vibe, low ceilings. It wasn't even a
Mhm.
warehouse. It wasn't even high ceilings. You know what I
Right,
mean? We're a little more escape from the noise. So you're just getting, and it probably sounded even worse where you were at.
Right. Well, I was
So-
in the crowd too.
Shut up,
throughout
Caleb.
the
That's
night.
true. That's true.
But
But you weren't referencing you. You weren't in the crowd for you.
right, true,
So
Sure.
true that.
Solid points
Mm-hmm.
all around. That makes sense too.
Yeah. Well, the less shit thing comes into play though, still,
Mhm.
because the less things you have going on, the more you can kind of emphasize any random one thing that you have going on,
Mm, mhm.
and maybe it's still complicated in that there's like a lot of sounds, but you don't really need them to be happening at the same time a lot
Yeah,
of the
that
time.
too. That's pretty
Okay.
key.
So yeah, I totally agree. I guess a good example would be there's Parmesan cheese in the cheese jar. Like I didn't know what the fuck it was. I did because I've heard it,
Right.
but like it's more just like rah, 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 rah,
Right,
rah, you
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
A little
so-
bit, yeah.
that is a good example for what you're talking about
Mhm.
because I was thinking about that. I'm just like, I knew what it was saying, so I'm laughing, and I'm just like, but I wish they were a little bit more too, or they did,
Yeah.
because
Okay, yeah, we were
I-
kind of talking about that.
yeah,
Vocals.
Vocals not being loud enough because we could kind of hear that from
Mhm.
stage. We're like, man, you need to have the vocals just so loud.
Yeah.
Mhm.
parts like that, I just drop everything. I'm
Right.
just
Right.
like,
Exactly.
just like
Right.
fuck it. Like I
Yeah.
don't need
And make
the-
them pretty dry.
Yeah.
Mm,
No,
mhm.
dry as fuck because not only that, you're coming around to another turn on the drop. So it's like you hit that dry, you catch their attention, and then you pull their attention to see what that is. There's
Mhm.
not distracting elements like a sub still fizzling out or like Foley or some shit like
Mm.
that. You know, there's not a distracting element to the mind. So their focus, you stop everything, their focus is already there. And then it's just like, there's Parmesan cheese in the cheese drawer. What? And then back to it, and
Right.
everything comes back.
Yeah, totally.
So I think in that aspect, you know, it's all about like pulling their attention in some form, like making tricks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think thinking about it consciously, that's kind of what I'm getting from what you're saying, is thinking about it consciously to where, you know, it's are they going to be able to hear that? Is it we're thinning it out right before it comes back in big too, you know,
Right.
things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I probably wouldn't have known that there was Parmesan cheese in the cheese drawer.
Yeah, no.
if I didn't hear that before.
No, I
But it's good
asked
to
a couple
know.
people, they didn't hear it.
Yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's good to know. You sometimes you need some
Right, you gotta
Parmesan cheese.
and you gotta like find out. Like
Yeah.
this is the first show. A lot of those tracks like we were confident on, but we're like we're gonna find out. Here
Oh
we
yeah,
go.
and then for the most part, like all the tracks sounded like immaculate, like they were perfect, you know.
yeah. Besides like that quality
And that's
of
the
less
smallest
shit
element.
and more bold.
Mm.
That's the smallest element, but it's
Mhm,
also at the
mhm.
same time, it's like that didn't kill it, but that's
But
the
it is
next
an element.
step. That's the
Right.
next is
Right.
is when the smaller pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that support the song the most. Like certain noises that you don't necessarily hear while it's playing, but you would entirely notice if it was gone.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's like there's
Mm.
just the balance between each layer.
It's
Like
my noise layer theory.
Right.
your noise
Mm-hmm.
theory. Let's go. Let's hear some
Yeah,
theory.
yeah. You if you have a layer of noise happening on your song, it is vibrating the speaker in such a way that it allows the speaker to move more freely
Okay.
when
Right.
frequencies
It's
go through
already
it,
in
like,
motion.
real strong. Yeah.
So that doesn't have
It's
to
not
go
going
from a dead stop.
static.
Right. It's already moving, so it can just open and close instead of stopping and then
Mm.
going.
And it's a theory for a reason.
Mhm.
It's some bullshit in all reality that I made up, but
See,
I think it works.
I feel like
He's scientist, dude.
so here,
I'm scientist.
Dave knows science. Mm-hmm.
He's scientist, dude.
I'm scientist.
if I dude, I have researched how speakers work and like read it and like understand it in like the sense that I'm like, yeah, I read that. That's what they do.
Right.
But like
Right.
my brain is just like, what? Like all those noises come out.
I
You
know.
know, like-
yeah, it's so weird.
I get it. It's resonance. It's vibrating at a certain frequency with certain amplitude, velocity, all that stuff.
Right. To move the air, to push the air into your ears, to push the little bits in your ears to make the sound in your brain to interpret.
Bro, air
Mhm.
is making dubstep.
Right. Right. You're
Like,
moving
Or
air.
music, I guess.
You're
But
moving the air artfully
yeah.
With the dubstep.
with the dubstep.
yes.
But like those noises, man. It's just like that's
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's all air, dude.
yeah.
but-
Mm-hmm.
Sending vibrations through the air.
Yeah, like I understand it working on like a technical level, but like my brain is just like this shit doesn't make sense.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I love it when the speaker's going. Wah,
Oh,
wah,
yeah.
wah, when you say it, you're
Yeah.
like,
The
I'm
point,
pushing air, bro.
dude. The point of that though was that I don't have the technical know-how to really
Disagree
compliment.
with my
Yeah,
theory?
I have got
Or agree with it. Yeah,
either
no,
nor,
yeah.
either or.
Yeah.
So
It works though.
maybe
Mm-hmm.
you know, it is literally working. You're
Dude.
correct.
Yeah. It's real. I am scientist.
You are a scientist,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Scientist.
There was a moment during the show. I can't remember exactly who did it, but there was this big impact sound, and it was like one of those impacts that are like really rumbly and washy and all over the place kind of thing, you know?
I know exactly what you're talking
Yes,
about.
right. And I remember listening and on those like giant speakers, and I was like, "Wow, that sounds like garbage." Like that just sounds so fucking weird right
Caleb
now.
knows exactly what you're talking about too.
Oh, did you guys like talk about it or something when it happened?
Just
Maybe.
in general.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I left the reverb on.
He left the reverb on.
No, not even when you guys were playing. It was after.
Oh.
Or actually,
really?
maybe it was you guys. Now that I think about it. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
god.
I don't know.
He's like, you guys actually suck.
There was a song.
It's like, wait, never mind. That
I
shit
left the
sucked.
reverb on, and then Caleb brought a song all the way in.
Yep.
And it was just,
washed out like fuck.
and then
Maybe
he
it
just
was
cut it
that.
on beat, and it
Yeah.
was clean again.
It's like,
And-
all right,
and
and everybody's like, yeah.
Yeah, everybody was like, yeah.
It's like, I guess it's your turn.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
does
okay,
that count?
Okay.
We had a good giggle at that.
Yeah, does
Yeah.
that count?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's like, can I try?
Can I do another one?
Yeah, please.
Mhm.
I know it'll fuck up the order, but
But I'll just do the one after that too, and then we're good.
and
Yeah.
then you take 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was fine.
Yeah, that was fine.
That was
Yeah.
my least concern out of the whole night. Was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe it was just because you were applying the reverb on the mixer or something, but something I was stoked on like a while ago was making super ambient like subsections that were just fucked up and chaotic, you know? It would remind me of like it was actually inspired from what is it called? Blue Planet. You guys know
Mhm.
that yeah, the show about the ocean. They had this
Right.
one section where they were like deep in the ocean and they had these like rumbly sounds and I was like, "Oh my god, that's the coolest thing." So I've been trying to do that, but
It'd be
like
fun to make some rumblies for the show
right? Yeah.
where it's just like, like just
Yeah.
like weird phasey rumbles.
Yeah. And that was my mindset, but like now hearing it on speakers like that, it's like it kind of doesn't sound that great
Well,
when
it-
it's like that
What
loud,
you have to,
you know?
yeah, it can't be fully pushed because I did this. I mean, I don't know 100% because we didn't play it on Function 1s, but in,
Function 2s probably.
Yeah, you're right. In my space drama
With a PH.
with the Alute Poon, this
Function too.
Sorry.
the spaceship sound that I used for like the background was just like a rumbly bumbly like
Mhm.
sub in a reverb and then just passed and then saturated and then passed and then like reverbed and then passed.
Mm.
So it was just
Yeah.
like really low and just like but it wasn't like I didn't slam it, I didn't compress it too hard. So it kind of just sat at the bottom, but it did give it real nice rumble. I bet it would work better
yeah,
live
like
like
a low
that.
level rumble would probably be nice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like really like, you know, it's hitting like -30. It's like not crazy at all. It's just
Yeah.
enough to move the speaker,
yeah.
you know, because that low frequency, you're going to feel that easily through
Mhm.
function 2s or 3s.
And then it's kind of a cool concept because if you do have
Only
that
up
really
to 7.
Yeah.
only up to 7, yeah.
Yeah, after that.
If you have
Good
that
luck.
really
Good luck.
low, like
Good luck,
fucked up
dude.
rumble, when you finally do come back with your really clean sub, it's even more
Oh,
Right.
contrast and emphasis
Oh,
on
yeah.
it. Yeah. So
Unless-
maybe that is a good
Unless
call,
David
actually,
leaves
yeah.
the reverb on. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Was it? It
Yep.
was okay.
Yep.
I plan to fuck up multiple more times.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just so I
Fuck
can
yeah,
test
dude.
Caleb's fucking gangster over here.
We're just gonna get better at checking the
Yeah.
effects.
I should have just
button.
looked at it, but
It's blinking at you.
yeah, exactly. I was nervous as ball sack, so.
Yeah. What are you gonna
Mhm.
do?
That's cute.
The other thing I want to do is put like just a singular like long cool sound in a track so that we can play that shit.
Oh, like wall
That's
of
just like-
sound kind of one.
Like some kind of
Oh,
like
yeah, like a-
really long weird like
Okay.
Right.
Like a whole song,
transcending sound.
Yeah,
a
yeah.
one noise whole
Whole
song just
song.
automated.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one knobber, dude.
Like 32 bars.
No.
No, 64.
Oh.
64.
But have like
Jesus.
4 sections, you know, so you can just pick the cue point you want, and that's the riser you get, you know.
Mm.
Yeah.
Just make like, make it 3 minutes long, and you got like 16 different risers out of one sound.
Just mud pie it at that point.
We've already done 30 minutes.
27
no,
minutes.
really?
What?
Oh.
We've been cruising.
Damn.
We've been
Shit.
having a giggly good time.
Yeah,
And
20,
on
yeah,
it.
We've
22
covered
of them.
One topic.
The glasses. yeah, you're right. We
Dude.
covered one topic.
The glasses are still here.
Dude.
Oh, they are.
Let's not do this again.
We
Me.
haven't even reached my second bullet point, so.
Nice.
Well,
Well-
what do you
Well,
got,
I
Austin?
Was
Or
your second bullet point part of the first one, or can I go on
No.
mine?
You can go on yours.
Dope. Fuck you, Jamie.
go
well,
on yours.
hold on. Can I have one more last thought on the previous bullet
Yes.
point?
God, I guess. Mr. Guest on our pod.
Asshole, man. So I guess
Come back down. Come
Just-
back down.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I got
Yeah,
scared.
You got it.
just to wrap that thought up,
Mm-hmm.
my biggest thought in that is just emphasizing focus.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not about like, especially in that environment, if you know, this will happen progressively, ideally, but it's not. I'm not playing a huge festival. I'm not this
For
and
now.
that. The environment. That's what. Yeah, exactly. So, obviously you didn't like pregame the venue, sound check.
Right, right,
That's so
sure.
you don't really know going into those things. So I guess initially you have to anticipate you're going to be in bad sound environments.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
It's going to be fun because of that.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so game had one happen. Pretty nice open little place, low ceilings. Early in the night, not enough bodies to absorb the noise.
That too.
So there are definitely two things: emphasizing on focus and being aware of where and when, like where you're playing.
Yep.
That's very important. Going into knowing that sets your track list, and if we're in this position now, that's something to think about and emphasizing.
Yeah. You could almost make like a mix of any given track that's specifically for the more like rough environments. That's
Like
just a little
simpler.
bit more simple.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That would be actually pretty fun.
Like a warehouse.
Mhm.
the warehouse
And
The warehouse cut.
yeah.
the simpler they are, the easier the mix, and you can just kind of start bouncing all
Right,
over
you
the
can
place
go all
with them
over the
too.
place,
So,
Yeah, well, that was the other thing is like probably ease up on the white noise
mhm.
Sweeps.
sounds.
Yep.
And like, yeah, like maybe use a little bit less like big effects things.
I
And
think
just
you guys
have it be pretty clean and nice.
did a good job. You're the complete openers. It was your first legit show. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's see what these guys got. So that was handled well.
Thank you.
know. So I mean, yeah, dude. No one was just like, oh, that drop wasn't good.
Yeah.
you
yeah.
know what I
Yeah,
mean?
not
Like,
at
dude,
all.
the crowd. Oh my god, especially after COVID, like the crowd's so, dude. That's probably like the easy. That's like having like
Yeah.
someone warm up for
It's a
you at a
gimme
comedy.
crowd.
Yeah, it's like we're
Yeah.
it's like we're ready.
Yeah.
We're,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah, people
ready.
are
We're
getting down the whole
going
time.
to have a good time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like yeah. So
Mhm.
it was a good environment.
Mhm.
It was a very welcoming first show.
Yeah, it
so
was.
that was really cool.
Mhm.
But yeah, I guess those are on that topic. Those are the two biggest takeaways. Emphasize on focus and then be aware of the environment. I think that's very important.
Mhm.
You heard it from Poon.
You heard
You
it
heard
from
it here.
That's right.
INRNME. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick ad read break. We will be right back.
Always 400.
This podcast is brought to you by Chicago.
Wow.
Get out this summer and go check out the Windy City,
Always 400.
Chicago.
Wow.
Chicago.
And the microlight.
They
All
didn't
right.
give us a lot of money, so
No.
we just give them like a couple seconds.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're back.
Exactly.
Yeah, Chicago's kind of cheap.
So-
They sent him the hat.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
It's basically the key to the city.
I think they sent us these too.
No one wanted it.
Right.
Yeah,
They're like, please take this from us for the love of God. Just
So-
take this.
You got topic 2?
I got topic number 2.
I love it.
And I feel
Poon's
like-
ready for the topics.
I know,
Let's
right?
go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And
Let's
it'll be
go.
interesting because I know you three kind of do this a lot. So
Let's go.
when it comes to like kick transients and kick top end, I've been learning that I kind of just hate kicks that have like a really harsh click or a noise layer on top.
Mhm.
I like them when they're just body and sub, and you just get the thump of it.
I do too.
Yeah, dude, right? Like
Love
something
it.
like an Adoisia,
Adoisia.
Odessa.
Doisia.
Odessa.
I love that. Nausea.
Odessa.
Nausea. I call them nausea.
Odoisia.
Adoisia.
Adoisia.
The mixture between Odessa and Noisia.
Which
Dude, I would love that
who would've-
collab.
Yeah, let's go with that collab.
That'd
I don't
be
know.
crazy-
I don't know.
crazy
If,
collab.
I don't know if they'd work well together.
Mm,
There's like,
could.
I don't like these guys.
Yeah.
Dude, I bet.
when
Anyway,
worlds collide.
So continue.
Yeah, so basically I've been trying to figure out how to get like a good knocky kick that's like pillowy and good. And it's so ridiculous because I've made a point to not have high end in all my kicks.
Well,
And every time I send it to a homie or like have someone give me feedback, even like the Whittler was saying, like, dude, just add high into your fucking kick.
Well,
It'll be way better.
here's the thing.
I
So,
can't.
like in your brain, you're kind of like, I think you're not necessarily thinking about what you want is accomplished in the exact same way. I think I think when you hear that, you're like, add transients, add this. You're thinking of just like this. Now it's like big old powerful like slappy thumpy. You know what I mean?
I probably am thinking exactly like that. Yeah.
But it's not necessarily that. It's just you have to give it the top layer so it fills it out, because just as a very simple example, how well can you hear it out of a phone?
Not really at all.
So
Ding ding ding.
so that's kind of what you're missing, but it doesn't have to be like the really tingy kind of crispy. It doesn't have
I
to
feel
be
ya,
that.
Yeah.
And one way you can accomplish that, one thing that I think would be a super simple, get a top end kick, even just like a quick experiment. Grab a good little low thumpy kick you like, little boom boom,
Mm-hmm.
and then just pitch it up, and then high pass a bunch, get the lows out of there,
Mm-hmm.
and then run that into like a multi-band and smash that multi-band hard. And then you can kind of raise up on an EQ even and just kind of like find where maybe you find that like just a little bit more knock and just a little bit of a
okay.
tighter part of it, because you don't. I just think when you're hearing that, you're just thinking of this like huge snappy one, and it's just like
I am. Yeah.
it's more so like, dude, it's like cooking. You just got to add another little layer. It's just like a little bit of sauce, and it's like, you know.
That's fair.
But
That's fair.
but yeah, one thing that you can just easily try is just like limit that, multi-band it hard, and then just
Like
kind of like
OTT
find
multiband or like
no,
not
just
as hard?
just regular Ableton multi-band. Just make sure that because you want to emphasize those certain frequencies that give it that emphasis. But you know, once you start bringing them out a lot, and then when you start limiting it as well, or pushing it, compressing it, then the top end's going to run away a lot higher. So what also happens is you run into a problem where people are pushing shit at the end. So they have those transients on the top, but if it's not properly compressed or limited prior to going into that, then it's going to be pushed in a way where it kind of, I don't know. I visualize it as like it spreads out in a way. But
Yeah.
But yeah, they can get too sharp on you real quick. So I think just, I guess maybe a lazy way, easy way, I don't know what to call it, but just like, you know, just multi-band that, have something that's just making sure it's not going over a certain point, and then just push an EQ at the right frequency. you know.
Okay.
But
When you're doing it, I've heard people use like an acoustic kick, like layered on top of their electronic kick. Is that something that you kind of do? You guys do?
It has
Or-
I love acoustic kicks. To be honest, most of my dubstep is made with just like the driest drum set I can find. Like I download these dubstep packs, and I'm just like, dude, I hate that kick. It's like,
I know, right?
it's like so distorted and ugly, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Dude, I got a Disciple pack. You know, like Disciple dubstep.
Kicks.
And yeah, I was so stoked. I'm like, yes, all these kicks are gonna be the fucking shit.
And
I
it's like,
hate all of them.
yeah.
There's not a single one I would use because they're just they're all like
Shout out Disciple.
Yeah.
shouts Disciple.
It's like,
I'm sure they're dope. I'm sure they're dope.
maybe he'll want to
they're
sponsor
probably
us.
dope, yeah.
They're great for
But-
cutting and pasting, you know?
Look,
Yeah.
if you're going for that type of dubstep, like, yeah, it's like, that is basically like what the kick ends up as, I suppose. But I guess I just hate that as a starting point. Like, it's that kick, and that kick shouldn't always be that kick. So like, that's why I really, really like just the most acoustic actual drum kit recordings I can find, and then just kind of beef it up from there. If I need, I'll add an operator. And one thing you can do, look how long, just visually look at the audio length of the kick itself, and then you can go and add, you know, the how long it sustains for. You can match up the milliseconds on that. But yeah, take a little acoustic kick, make sure it doesn't have any errant frequencies, add a little sine wave operator with a timed cutout that matches what the acoustic kick lasts, unless you want it bigger. It's like a
Right, more boomy.
whatever. But just building a kick, and then I'll usually do 3 layers. I'll do the operator sine wave layer, the middle layer, the acoustic kick, and then the top layer. Typically, that acoustic kick just pitched up, cut off, tasteful reverb with a short delay or decay on the top end.
Dig it.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe just a little bit of saturator too, and just have that end turned down and tamed, and just a little sizzle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep that in mind.
I feel like you want that, like, if you want to use like a natural actual kick drum.
Natural
Sample.
actual.
Natural actual. It's hard to say, actually.
You
When I say
said
the
it so
second time, I said
smoothly.
it, yeah. And you made me say it again, and now I'm stumbling.
Continue.
Natural actual. Yeah, so that guy, I try to make a little bit on the wide side. I want it to be a wider kick sound. And then it just gets nestled in to the more like just thumpy kick sound. And then I might add a top layer, or I might not, just depending on what we're working with.
And I
At
think
that point,
a super important thing to keep in mind, why I hate those sample packs, is because it's like you can't like pick your poison with it. You can't.
you don't get to shape it the way you want.
And
Yeah.
which is like, I guess if I'm going for like the most impactful, like hitting at literally 0 dB, I guess that's it. But
Oh shit!
yeah.
So when we make our fucking always 400 sample pack, we should keep that in mind. You can
Yep.
have like the build your own kick section where it's like here's the top, mid, and then bottom.
Here's a bunch of little
Just
clicks.
give some tasteful kicks that people can chop up.
Both. We'll do both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
but that's why I love the
They'll be
acoustic
fun.
drums.
Yeah.
They just sound nice. A good recording of acoustic, it's like, man, that thump is like, that's a thump.
Right. You can't pull out
No.
those 300s if they're not there. 300's either there or it's not,
Okay.
because it'll get boxy quick if your kick has no 300s and you're trying to pull
thought
up
he was
in an EQ. No, I'm being.
I thought it
serious.
was
I'm
a
being
joke.
dead serious.
I thought it was a joke on
Aaron.
400, so I was like, oh, mm-hmm.
Oh, I see.
It was
Although-
300.
400s, they're always there.
Shout out.
dude.
Hashtag 400.
No one
400s
fucks
are
with
always
400.
there.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's why our mixes are so good. That 400.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we tell people from now on. 400 hertz.
400 hertz, dude. Duh.
We
Everyone
spend
knows this.
Obviously.
We spend at least 400 hours on the 400 hertz section
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's easy.
every time.
Oh, without a doubt.
Every
yeah.
single song.
Every time.
Every time.
It's like, how many songs
Always.
do you have?
I would say
400.
also, Austin, instead of just low passing kicks, just shelf
Mm-hmm.
the fuck out of them.
Oh, I always forget
Just
about
leave-
shelving.
Shelf is your friend.
Leave high end in there. Just make it really quiet. You know,
Okay.
if you want to.
Yeah, that was going to be my point, but you can continue. Till you're done, Dave.
And also do that and then distort it, like resample it. Maybe do it like a couple times. You
Okay.
know,
As a whole, or just the high end part?
like you could over process your kick a few times in a row, and what you get is like something a little bit closer to what a sampled kick sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's already been through multiple like
Mm-hmm.
processes. If you want it to be like just like a little thumpy guy that just grabs
you just like compress
you still want
it,
that sine
pass
form.
it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have another alternative.
What's that?
It's, dude, just get a hi-hat. Just get a closed hi-hat, shape it with EQ.
Oh, the
add a
hip
little
hop
reverb.
method.
Y'all
yeah.
are taking
yeah.
all my talking points.
What else you
this.
got?
Well, my main philosophy is if you add a top end to your kick, or the kick has top end, although I make most of my kicks in kick 2, so you have the ability to add
Layers.
any sound you want, yeah, because they're just noise
Which is
samplers.
so sick.
Noisia.
I love that little section.
Noisia.
A noisy.
Oh,
Dude, stop
Doisia.
being so
Doisia.
noisia.
That was creative.
That was creative. Good job.
Always creative.
Always.
A Noisia.
Yeah. The point for me to add a click or a top end, which, like I was going to say also, is another option is hi-hats, is so that you can turn it down.
Yeah.
That's like the main thing. So that way you can turn the kick as a whole down. So that way it's not competing with as many things, and it can be closer to like nestled in with your sub and nestled in with your clap.
It still ends up being very loud once you've squished
Yeah, once you squeeze
everything down.
Yep.
But it doesn't get the initial squish. It stays intact
Mm-hmm.
as you squish.
Right.
I do love my squish.
On top of that, what you can also do
Love the squish.
to make a click or make a top end that's really close to your initial subby kick that you have already running is you just resample that subby kick a bunch of times, distorting it, passing it, whatever you want to like get it sounding super snappy, and then you just low pass him and use him as your click, and it's gonna work because it's the same sound. The boy van.
Boy van?
What up, boy van? It's a van of boys. Unluckily, it's kind of late here, but I might watch the stream later. Hope
Tips
you're having
for
a
width.
good time.
We are.
mates.
Thank you, man.
Any tips for width stomp drums?
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Wonder
Now,
if this is my homie. Are you in Australia?
I don't know what he means
don't
by
know, Mike.
width. What are stomp drums? You guys have a translation?
Dude, I know.
Oh,
You don't know what stomp is?
translate it
Stomp
as
drums are-
stomp drums?
Yeah, it's what I read it as. Absolutely.
You're right.
Oh, okay.
He
So
didn't capitalize the stomp though, and he did.
Capitalize
I think it's a
width.
descriptor.
okay, so you guys also berate your commenters too.
Yeah.
That's great. This is
yeah.
the
Obviously.
Hey,
friendliest
we're
podcast.
professionals, dude. You gotta
Yeah.
be honest.
Dude, do you see the equipment I have? I bought
Yeah.
this.
Dude, you're
I'm
good.
professional. I
Don't
bought
worry,
it.
my guy.
We're goofing.
No, dude, you're
Hey, no,
fine.
you're
totally
good.
fine. Yeah.
I just want to know what you mean. A little stomp. Is that?
Width in stomp drums.
I think
Stomp drums.
Stomp drums, I imagine, is like an orchestral kind of like boomy.
or
or like a
your
coliseum full
tribal.
of people who are like, yeah, it's like a tribal thing where it's like,
yeah.
I'm
Kinda
just thinking
thing.
of like big dubstep, to be honest with you.
nice.
yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
either way,
Your
in
English
terms
is
of
pretty
the-
good, actually.
in
by
terms
the
of the
way.
width,
It's great.
what I would do
Fantastic.
to create width in my drums.
Full
since-
stereo on the sub.
Always. No,
Yeah.
that's not correct.
Don't do that.
Well, be careful with the low end. That's the biggest thing.
right. What you
Let
do
him talk. What
Yeah.
are you doing?
is you separate the top end. The idea is to separate the top from the bottom end. So whether you use multiband and solo out each one of the bands and put it in a group and like that, or use an
Parallel
EQ. Yeah. However you can separate the top end, then you can do many things to create width. You can put a short chorus on the top end. You could widen them with a 10 millisecond delay on like the left channel on a delay. Just a Haas effect. HAAS.
Pan things slightly.
You guys.
You can put like
You
some
guys.
drums to start on the left, and then as they roll, if it's like a tom roll, you can have them run from left to right. That's easy. Elementary, even if you will.
What's that, Poon?
I'm looking up stomp drums
Oh, okay.
and
Nice.
just seeing.
Were you
them.
literally talking about, is the stomp drum a thing, or are you just saying in kicks in general, Mr. Boy?
Yeah, can you elaborate a little bit more on what you mean? Just a genre of music or an application? I don't necessarily know what you mean by stomp drums. Is that
Multiband-
an instrument? A stomp drum?
I don't know what you would do with a multi-band
looking.
imager for the sake of this. But
snare, yeah.
I would say you want to probably use a little reverb. Like,
too.
you have to be super tasteful,
Mm-hmm.
but you kind of need the reverb.
A little bit. It
gives
bit
it
of
a
like
lot of
small
width.
size kind of thing.
So, I guess let's just talk about width.
Yeah,
That's what I do
He
now.
says
With
kick.
So-
Yeah.
He says kick snares
Why
kick
is
snares.
why we got the Ableton 11 starting up?
because it is starting up.
They can't see
Jamie's
that,
about
actually.
to show.
Okay, so
the
so
crew.
Roomy, so I'd say one thing, one
Roomy.
trick
Would
too.
you call me?
So we use Ableton. I don't know what you use. The just the straight up standard Ableton reverb, one thing that's real easy to do, just turn off the chorus, turn off the spin, turn off the high cut, turn off the low cut, and then turn the decay all the way down, which will be 200 milliseconds. That adds a little bit of width. Literally, that's what it's doing. It's adding width by creating a longer amount of time. So width can be done through spatial stereo manipulating, and it can also be done with time. So, but that's how the brain deceives it. So it's not necessarily being widened, it's being lengthened, but the brain perceives it as bigger. So just adding a 200 millisecond decay on a reverb on the low end, all it does is it bulks it just a little bit.
Yeah.
You really don't want it more than
Puts
that.
a little glow around it.
Yeah, you don't want it more than that.
That's a good way to put it.
And then
So run me through it again here now that I have it on the screen.
so turn off the high cut, turn off the spin, turn off the chorus. Just get rid of all that. You really just want it straight. Turn on the high quality. And then decay time all the way down. Now, the stereo option, I mean, probably just leave it at 100.
Yeah.
Sure,
It's
sure.
only 200 milliseconds. You could go all the way up to 120, and that's width as well. That's expanding it through the reverb, through the stereo. So that'll give you a little width. It's nothing too crazy.
But it's specifically this 200 milliseconds down here.
All the way down.
Yeah.
All the way
You
down.
could bring the size down to give it even a more like
Tight.
quick,
yeah.
tight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
If you want to.
And then the dry wet, just kind of due to taste. It's going to be
I've been enjoying a really, really, really light convolution on my drum kit. I'll put
Convolution's so nice.
oh yeah. I'll put it with like there's some drum specific presets in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go through those and then I'll bring the decay way down and I'll have it at like 2% or like 1.5%
Mm-hmm.
on my whole entire drum kit, and then I'll have it getting a little bit more distorted and then limited after that,
Yeah.
and it just like fattens it and puts it in like a more unique room.
Mm-hmm.
It's sick.
Yeah, you have to do it at like that smaller percentage. Because convolution is just so big.
Yeah,
it's
it's
just like,
big in
It's
the
so
mid.
It's just-
roomy too.
it feels like it's just like talking back to you all the time. It just doesn't
Mhm.
stop. It's
is
nice.
similar to detuning and dimension, in terms of just giving you general width. Detuning though is more in regards to a synthesizer,
Now,
and its oscillators being detuned to one another, creating width.
is it the same as detuning or dimension
I don't think so.
in relation to
I
what?
don't know what those things are necessarily. Well, I mean, I know what detuning is, but like,
Right.
how are you detuning your kick?
I mean,
You
you
can
Right.
do like unison on it or something.
Right.
like
That's what
that,
I'm saying.
maybe?
That's more so with an oscillator in. a
right.
synth.
Maybe if you're building, your kick in a synth, you could
Make
add
the top
like a
end.
unison or something.
Yeah, that'd be weird though.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to do that.
And then
Or maybe it would be sick.
or maybe hyperdimension if you throw in
The things-
theorem effects on a kick.
Oh, yeah.
The thing about detuning is when you detune it, you're literally changing the time frame it exists and happens at. So by
Right.
detuning
it's
that,
like
Resample
smaller,
Yeah.
bigger,
always.
yeah. So detuning it is basically, I think, the best kick you can make is one that sits well with its elements, the layers and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just want to be careful. It's obviously not a don't do it.
Yeah.
Like you just want to be careful because it's going to change how each layer interacts basically. And so, I mean, you can literally check if you detune it and you're like, oh, that sounds good. Record each layer individually, look at it as audio, and you can see if it lines up in the right way. At least just maybe the start points. The top end obviously isn't going to be as long as the sub or the low end, but you can see where it starts, and then you can kind of see the displacement that's also happening once you start detuning too far.
Mm-hmm.
So it's with, I think the best thing you can do is just that tasteful spatial reverb on the low end. You can do a little bit of Haas effect on like the mid end. You don't really want to do that on the low end.
Yeah.
And I mean, even the same thing, you could do that with the reverb, cut off more of the lows, what you don't need, and then increase that decay time.
Totally.
So, and then you can kind of do that snappy top end just to give it that little bit of lushness, a little crisp at the top. But I think that's the big thing is layering with kicks is tricky.
Yeah.
You know, so you want to kind of be careful with that.
It's an art form for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It is. You have to
Yeah.
be careful. Like I don't really put my kicks to audio very much. That's why I like the acoustic kicks, because it starts out as just this bare bones. It's like a workspace. It's like, cool, I got a blank workspace. I can take this where I want to go. So, you know, there's definitely, as they say, many ways to
Skin a
totally.
cat.
skin a cat.
Totally.
Who's skinning
Yeah.
cats?
Your drums will end up
Why
Everybody.
is that a thing?
your drums will end up more
That's a good point. Yeah, I had no idea.
feeling fatter and being more present in your track as well if you're kind of grouping your drums together, something like that,
Now-
where you're kind of helping separate the drums from all of the rest of the elements of the song.
That's
Mm.
what I was just gonna say next. We could talk about building the best kick all day long,
Right.
and then you just get it smashed in and layered with everything. Below 100, absolutely.
Keep
Yes.
it mono.
Always mono. Even 120, I see a lot of people do. That's like the utility built-in bass mono thing. 120 and below, always a good call.
Now, I will say that this rule can be broken.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
But
It only matters
Caveats.
live.
it's
literally.
probably
Let's just
best.
make this more complicated.
Right. That's
Yeah.
why I'm going to say I, for the most part, keep everything under 100 hertz at mono. And
Totally.
that's usually the
Totally.
best way to
or
go.
get rid of it.
Yeah.
Unless you're tipper,
Or get rid
don't
of it.
fuck with it. When you get to tipper level, it's all you, man.
Don't try to
Break
do what
the
Tipper
rules.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, it's not just paying attention to 100 hertz. It's paying attention to wherever that kick is finding its knock
Yep.
and whatever is hitting in the mid range. Like, you really want to make sure whatever sounds you're using aren't getting in the way of the kick. Whether it's sidechain or just moving that sound over so the kick hits, or it does just blend well with the kick
Mhm.
because the sounds work well together.
Mm.
Maybe it's wide
So-
sound, kick is center.
It's always going to be dependent on the genre, of course. You know,
Mhm.
in situation, not even genre, just situation. Every song's different. You can be in the same genre, but you're playing in a different key. So maybe you made a really amazing kick in the last song, so you pull it over real quick just to make things easy. It might be overlapping now where what the sub is at in this song. So, I mean, do you want to sidechain that out, or do you want to tune it and fit it? You
Right.
know?
Mm.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's
Mm.
very much a time and a place thing,
Yep.
because some of the best songs, like some of the some people would call the biggest songs, just have this dinky little kick. That's it.
Totally.
Dude, right?
It's-
The tightest little.
I love that, by the way.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
it too.
yeah.
I love
Love
it
it.
too.
That took me so fucking long to understand.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just
so quiet.
Dude.
it's just
Yeah.
because it's not where the other things are.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
Yeah.
dry. It sticks out. It's not where the other things are, and it's sidechained in a very tasteful way.
Yeah.
Or they remove the elements, they
Talk
sidechain
about
it,
it.
whatever it is.
Futuristic bass trap, bro.
There
Let's
we
go.
Yeah, those kind of kicks and snares have a lot of layers.
Lots of reverb.
Yep. So focus on layering up one kick with the mid range of another thing and the top end of another thing. Maybe try and mix like 5 different things together.
Yeah, just play
Yeah.
around.
Fade them together in different ways to where like the snap hits first and then it fades into like the subby section or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And this can all happen
Play
really
around
quick.
with it. Yeah. And just I like
So,
I
yeah,
like to record it to audio as I'm building out the
So you can watch
the
it.
kick and watching the waveform and try and make it kind of look like a type of kick that you do end up liking typically.
Mm-hmm.
Go and look at kicks.
Yeah, compare. I think
Yeah, compare
comparing audios, like waveforms and all that is actually really important too.
Super.
Yeah.
Especially with kicks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yo,
so-
the boy van. I hope I'm saying your name right. What else have you been working on lately?
Boy van.
Do you have any other questions or things that have been keeping you stuck? But for the meantime, I learned
Yeah,
this
go for it.
super fucking cool. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
So there's this trick for mud pies that I learned.
Okay.
Where if you put it into a sampler, you can set up the sampler in a way where, when you're now in MIDI for your sampler of the mud pie, when you mess with your velocity, it affects the start time of the sample. So you can
Sick.
play around, in MIDI and just like tweak it right there in MIDI. And it's
sampler-
been blowing my fucking mind. Yeah.
Sampler's underutilized.
I know, dude. It's fucking insane.
Sampler's
There's
amazing.
so
It's
much you can
super
do
amazing,
in it.
yeah.
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 Yeah,
Like,
it's so customizable.
I don't even use it as much as I used to, and I still use it all the time.
Mm-hmm. The only one thing though that is messing with me though is if we're applying our sample start position to the velocity, it'll affect the volume of the sample, and I don't know how to not do that. Have it not affect the volume.
There's a routing area.
Open it up.
Mr.
Sampler.
Jamie,
What?
Sampler, please.
open up a sampler for us.
It's like, what, guys? I'm on Facebook.
Guys, I'm
Are we
checking
gonna
my
give this guy feedback?
I'm checking my Instagram.
I'm down. Fuck it. Why not? Right?
Sure.
We'll do it
We could play like through the first drop. Or
yeah,
something
after
like
we're
that.
done with this topic real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us just a moment. And
So
then
you're
we
asking, I
shall.
just want to make sure, you're asking how the velocity is controlled, basic, more or less, right?
Yes. Yes.
And he's like, I think we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Open
yeah.
the sampler. Or,
I'm getting there,
Yeah,
bro.
'cause
I know.
the
I don't
way
know
I've
why
been
I asked
running
you
it
again. I'm
is-
sorry.
yeah.
Hey, open the sampler.
Jamie.
Open the
Yo,
sampler.
Jamie.
Jamie. Jaime.
Jaime.
Yeah,
Jaime.
you're Jaime.
Go
So, well, let's see. Go over to
It's
the
got all the
filter.
reverbs on it.
Filter, please. Filter tab, 454. So that velocity, right by the volume on the right side, there's a velocity is less, or volume less than velocity.
Time.
Up,
It's to the left of right where the
up, one, right there, right there. So here's what you can do too. If you want to get, here's a couple super. I love these. I hate making drums. First off, I guess rhythms more because I'm not a drummer. Like you guys are really good at drums. So like I cheat my drums.
Right.
So a couple ways I cheat my drums is that velocity, volume to velocity button. Basically that's controlling when you hit it, how hard's the velocity hitting in comparison to where the velocity is set in the clip. So if you have an LFO set to that and you have a hi-hat rhythm, it's constantly, it has that human sound to where it's some are not as hard, some are a little softer.
Or if you're in Ableton 11, you just adjust the
Okay. Well,
MIDI.
so
and
here,
it does it for you.
let me add a couple things. So there
You
can-
would want to turn that up though for that
so LFO modulation also correct.
volume to
Correct.
velocity.
Also adjusting the attack tastefully with an LFO modulation. That is
Mhm.
so nice for just settling it out and snapping it, and then you have even the velocity going, or the volume to velocity. Now here's another one. The arpeggiator is actually a badass for adding hi-hat rhythms because you can transpose it, you can change the timing of it, you can add a note length over the top of that, you
You can
can
do a
automate
randomizer
that.
if you have multiple samples.
If
in
you
it.
have the arpeggiator and just the attack LFO'd, you get some swingy rhythms, some really nice rhythms.
That's cool.
I really love that for my hi-hats. And then you take just that and you put it into a beat repeat and start chopping it up. Then you're having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But just a super simple cheat way.
Are you talking about attack? Do you mean gate?
No. Just no. To
You
the
on-
envelope for the filter.
Oh,
Yeah,
filter
exactly
tab.
that in Serum.
yeah. Okay.
If you set that little thing
So
onto
highlight
a parameter,
highlight the attack, show them on the right. Right. It's like on the same column as the
This?
volume. No. That's the filter. Right. Further.
The amplitude.
That one.
Oh, I thought you said filter envelope.
Oh no, sorry. Well, I
Just-
did, but for the volume.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
Gotcha.
we're both right and wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just that attack. Just you don't want to go in too much because then it disappears. But just a tasteful LFO on the attack, and then
just a little baby guy.
and then you can
Hmm.
just get the
Maybe going to,
arpeggiator at a
like,
rate
2 or 3 milliseconds.
a little more than that to like
5?
probably a little more than that.
500?
like
7.
400?
20 to 30.
Whoa.
Ooh, get that like
Get
sloppy.
rid of the entrance.
Yeah.
Get
Not-
rid
it
of the
softens
transient.
it softens it out because then it comes back and it's like and then it's like you
No,
know?
actually,
with
dude,
the
I fuck
hi-hat,
with that.
I could see that.
with
yeah.
a hi-hat.
Yeah, with the
That's
hi-hat,
I was
yeah.
thinking of a
specific.
kick.
No.
That stuff
I
is
am-
great for like a build up.
I am not talking about a kick for this technique at
Okay,
all.
cool,
This
cool,
is
cool.
literally specifically hi-hats or
Mm.
just rhythm in general, not a kick. Specifically not a kick. But that's
Not a kick.
yeah,
Not a kick.
Guys,
Full
we are
disclosure.
not talking about kicks right now.
Yeah, full
Do
disclosure.
not automate your attack on the kick.
Hi-hats and
Don't do that.
bongos only.
Yeah,
Do
you're
not
like,
put
whoa.
the attack on your kick with an
That's
LFO.
That's creative.
That's
I don't know.
Really creative.
Yeah, it's,
Man, it really gives it some realism.
probably sounds like shit, but god damn it, that's creative.
Some of those kicks sound
You can make it work.
bad, but
You can make
Sure.
it work.
yeah,
you
I
can
bet
make
you could.
anything work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for the drop, I'd imagine, but like build up section, breakdown, that could
Or
be
just
cool.
like a dank little beat.
So we're gonna
Sure.
let's check out this new song.
Okay, wait. I don't think you kind of addressed it, but that volume velocity thing
Uh-huh.
Oh,
is
yeah,
set
yeah,
at
yeah.
default is 0%. So that doesn't affect what I was talking
Correct.
What-
Go to
okay, so maybe
modulation.
I didn't understand what you're asking then.
about. Okay, word. Is it in mod?
No.
No, MIDI, top
Maybe
right.
MIDI?
Hang on one second. Let me get this over.
Thank you.
Yeah, I misunderstood you.
Okay, so velocity on if you click off, you can set it to what is it? Loop start. Yeah. And then the thing to the right. Yep. Look at you go. Yeah. So now in your MIDI, when you're adjusting velocity, it'll change the start position of your sample, but it's still affecting the volume of it.
Hmm.
And if I could just get around that shit,
So
it's
right,
go time.
it's affecting the volume. Really?
Yeah. I think. Or
Yeah,
at least
the
maybe
velocity is changed depending on how hard you're hitting the key, aka how much velocity
What if
the
you
MIDI
just-
note has. It'll change where the loop start
What
is.
if you just do it
depending.
through mod wheel?
If you have the velocity,
totally
the
could, yeah.
volume
Just
down,
do
it
it. Yeah,
shouldn't
just
change.
You should just be able to do it through mod wheel.
If
Put
you have
that
what?
through the loop start and then use your
Could do that.
controller.
do mod reel, yeah.
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 I don't know why you setting it.
There's
through-
definitely easier ways to do it. I just want to find a way to do it through the velocity thing because I think it'd be fun. So I'm
Totally.
trying to.
Also, you could then
Yeah.
set it to kind of randomize the velocity, I think, in the MIDI.
Which would be cool too. Yeah, if you had some percussion
That's
in your
another
thing.
percussion technique.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Sampler basically is the shit, and people really need to use it more.
Dude, I'm about to, cause like look at all these parameters. Like, what if you just put like any of those on velocity or like all those other sections?
Yeah, and you can
Whatever
put all of
slide.
your.
What
could
if you did like a weird slide thing and it like
make-
fucked with the or like filter or something? I don't know.
make a dope noise in whatever synth you use, throw it in the sampler, and
Yeah,
just play with it.
yeah,
It's fun.
yeah.
Get ready.
All right, wait, Boy
That's only
Van, give us a
33
yeet
minutes
if you're
long,
still in the
nice.
chat.
I may or may not-
It builds.
Yeah, I
for,
might-
like, a
I might
minute and
skip
a half
around
and then drops
yeah,
for
we'll
the
go into
rest of
here.
the song.
Yep.
All right, let's try it. I guess that would be trance, huh? There's
Would
usually
indeed.
a breakdown in trance.
Yeah.
Yeah, we out here.
Always 400.
Overthink. Oh fuck yeah, this is sick.
This is right up Austin's alley.
Yeah.
Some side trance, hopefully.
Austin loves it.
All right, we're gonna skip ahead of that a little bit.
Just let it go. No. Let it go. It's 3 minutes. We don't have to listen to the whole thing, but just let it ride. We're like, that's like 10 seconds.
I can't wait anymore.
Let's
Oh,
go,
hell yeah.
Boy Van.
Dude.
Boy Van.
Hell yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. This reminds me of that scene in Super Troopers.
Right.
Skip through a little bit. We change it up. You went like 1 second.
I know. I wanted to hear the break.
Trance is definitely not my steez, but I still dig it.
Yeah, Caleb and Dave would have
Totally.
better opinions on this.
Yeah.
One
I
thing
mean,
I
I
noticed.
still have opinions, but
Yeah, yeah. So something that I struggle with a lot, and I'm not saying this was necessarily that, but when you have a lot of reverb on things, it can be hard to really pinpoint where a space is in something, and it's really easy for things to clash. And obviously, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It can be a really good thing. But just something I noticed in your intro, things were definitely placed nicely, but it kind of just felt like almost a blur of information at times, more towards like the mid and high sections, high end kind of thing. How to fix that, I have no idea.
all right.
Maybe Q, maybe
Here's-
less reverb, maybe
I have an idea.
You know, but just something I noticed. You know,
I have an idea. Turn off all the reverb on that song, for those songs, or for the track, sorry, and then see how it sounds. And then so you have it where it's at now, and you're kind of building it. You've built it as you went. So look at it now. Turn the reverb off for the channels. Hopefully they're not flattened. You can still do that, and see where it sits. Does it still mix well? Because right now, it's reverbed out. It's super reverbed out.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And
Washed.
trance, again, it's not my element, so take what I say with a grain of salt. I make instrumentals and dubstep. So,
Yeah.
but definitely you have to kind of pick and choose which element do you want to be the big one.
Mm.
And then, once you
Preach.
get that sounding where you like it, where you want it to be, then, what's the next one that I want to add a little more spatial, elements to? Now, that's when you have to start thinking about it a little more. It's like, okay, well, you just turn the reverb up. Cool. Now it's clashing with the big one that you want. So then you start thinking about, okay, then you're EQing. Now it goes beyond that because you start thinking about mid and side as well. So
Mm.
the main noise you have, you're probably wanting some of that reverb to be more reverb than other noises on the mid area, because that's the most present noise. That's the one that you chose to have as the biggest. So when you're bringing in that second one, it's like, okay, this one needs to be bigger as well. Now, do you want it to be wider, sharper, whatever? You're probably going to want to start reducing the EQ in the mid range, really, because as you start layering and layering, it's just going to turn into a big old mess. So that's when like really mono and stereo and left and right start really coming into play.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, dude, it was a fucking sick track for sure.
Dude, it reminded
I
me
don't
of
really
Super
listen to
Troopers. That's
Psytrance,
always
but like
good.
that got me hyped, especially that intro, fucking dreamy ambient intro. with
Yeah,
some
the intro was
strings.
tight.
Oh
Yeah,
my
what do you got,
God.
Caleb?
Yeah.
When it comes to the drop section, let me just play it again real quick. You guys on stream can't see it, but
Will you move that for just a sec so we can see what he
I
said?
can't see.
he says, "I appreciate it. That means a lot for me."
Cool,
Yeah.
man.
I
Yeah.
got 2 questions for you that you can answer while we're jamming this drop one more time. How long have you been producing?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess when I meant a couple questions, I meant one. How long you been producing? All right, let me hear this drop real quick, or at least a little bit of it. I guess I should turn it up, huh?
Might help.
There's the thing.
Oh, wait, pause it.
Straight in.
I also like how you
Oh.
labeled non-mastered, because the people gotta know this shit ain't done.
That's right.
Also,
Um,
dude, your fill sections are
Always.
so on point. Your fill sections
Okay.
are super clean and stereo, and I love it. Good job.
Yeah, the fills are tight. the bottom end is tricky with psytrance like this. Your kick and your sub really, really have to be separate from each other.
Very difficult.
One way,
Oh.
and
Do you-
another thing is they have to be the same, basically the same thing every time. Like that bottom rolling bass, you don't want it changing around in terms of how it's hitting all the time, because that's going to change its interaction with the kick, and it's going to give you random muddy sections, random clean sections. So when you're designing your bottom bass that sits underneath the kick and in between the kick, make sure you flatten it down into audio and find your favorite section, and then you can just duplicate that section as many
Yeah.
times as you want it, that sound, and then you can have different audio renders of the filter on that bass, a little bit more open, a little bit more closed, but printing those out and then picking your best one and putting that in between the kicks, and making sure that when you're in audio, the actual waveforms don't intersect.
Yeah.
Key.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
key
yeah.
with that bottom end.
It
in
makes it
psytrance.
really clean thumpers.
And 2 years, that's pretty good for 2 years.
I
Yeah,
have a-
that's incredible for
I
2
have
years.
a question for our
It's
friend.
great for 2 years. Yeah.
Do you play around with your own sound design as well?
I would focus a little bit on the like building section.
I could see that. Yeah.
I mean, I have friends now that do this very similar thing, and they've been producing way longer than 2 years. But like
Just
having
talking
that
about me.
kick, as it like is doubling and quadrupling or whatever, going real fast, it's staying at that same volume.
Static.
Yeah, what you want to do is you want to have it get a little quieter, maybe pull the highs and the lows out as it gets more and more toward that like sucky part of that build.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to do a lot of that
Cool.
for kind of bringing those drops in and kind of just compress them as they get closer to the drop. Anything you can do to kind of restrict all that sound so that when you let it go again, it goes hard as fuck.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, movement.
correct.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's just you don't want things to be static.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even trance is not my world. So, I'm trying to be careful with
That's like side trance too, right?
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely not my world. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to be careful with
I mean, I'm
It's
a
my
connoisseur
world. So
of psytrance, but I
Yeah.
haven't made enough of it.
yeah, true.
I'm more of a house
Plur.
techno halftime.
Plur.
Dude, Plur?
Dude, don't fuck with psytrance, dude. That's some of the
Dude,
best shows you could go to.
My man, I ain't.
Dude,
Dude,
sounds
don't-
like you're
hey.
fucking shitting
No,
on
I'm not.
psytrance
No,
right
no,
now.
no.
Don't fuck with side trance.
I'm just trying to be careful with the tips I give because but yes, it's even in the most simplest settings, because I like making instrumental music. I love making dubstep. But sometimes when I'm making something really simple, there still has to be a dynamic aspect to it.
Mm-hmm.
And finding how to create dynamic aspects with something that is steady.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right.
where certain tips and techniques come in, and that all also comes down to creating a want for the brain to focus on it. So if you have that build up, it's those kicks just going steady. They're waiting for it. They're waiting for something to happen. But when you start, high passing things, adding small delays to layers, and low passing something else, whatever. Once you start morphing just that piece as it is into it, you're taking them with you in a way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not giving them a moment where it's like, okay, here's the build up, drop's coming. I'm waiting for the drop. It's
Yeah.
more so like it's like you kind of have to think about it in this like weird way to where it's just like you're always stringing them along with the next
Always.
thing. So once
Stringing them along.
once one thing starts happening, it's like, all right, well, what has been happening, and what can I do to do something with that with conjunction with all the other pieces that are gonna come in, that are in, and all that. So
Right.
Something else I'd like to say, Mr. Boyvan, is
Boyven.
this is like purely my personal preference. So the way you went into your drop was like you had this really sick intro with a lot of energy and substance and all this, and you went right into the buildup. Personally, I felt the buildup was a little short. I like buildups that like really draw in the tension.
oh, dude, like before the buildup is, you should add a space, like, cause trance especially.
Yeah, get that fucking space before
Yeah.
the build. So
And then
yeah.
And then with all the reverbs that you're working out, just let it breathe out,
Mm-hmm.
and then just
And then pull back. Yeah.
pull it back and come back and fade those drums back in, and then
Mm-hmm.
that sounds
And
nice.
and the way you did it, like it was flawless for sure. I didn't notice anything wrong about it necessarily at all, because you had the energy and you just pulled the energy up the whole time, which was sick. But purely my personal preference was that like I would have liked a longer build up with a little more tension in it, and
Yeah,
I
that's
think
fair.
that would have made it come in a lot harder. But yeah, just a random little thing.
It would come a lot harder.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it would come a lot harder.
would
That's
come
for
so
sure.
hard.
It would come so hard.
Isn't that right, Mr.
Oh my goodness.
Smurf?
Also,
Play
Yes.
around more
did
with
you just
what you
now
have.
figure out you
Cyber
can make
Smurf.
yourself purple, or is this like have
Dude,
we just
No,
not
he's
been
just
doing
not
this?
feeling good right now, dude.
Dude, I'm gonna
Feeling a little green, Caleb, huh?
hang on. I'm getting the transmission. I'm not actually supposed to talk about it because your government is kind of.
Oh, wow, that's cool, dude.
But
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure
they
did.
are a
I'm an
little bit
alien.
cocky.
like,
Do we have more topics?
yeah, I got one more.
I got one. Go
Goddamn.
ahead, though, Caleb. Boy, if you agree on
Oh,
which
my
part?
phone is dead. What time is it?
We've been at it for an hour and 20 minutes,
Wow.
Okay.
so we
This
could
one's
save
been fun.
topics. But
Let's finish them. Let's wrap them up.
Oh, my phone died.
Let's wrap
I
'em
was
up.
just curious about
That's fair.
y'all's. Now, okay. I'm gonna preface this question.
I'm lighting up. Let's wrap them up.
Okay.
We got some time.
I mean, that's fine,
Yeah, we're gonna get extra smart now.
Oh, God, that one's scary,
This
Caleb. Don't do that
tobacco.
one.
dude. I'm a cyberpunk cyborg, bro.
Cyberpunk Psy Ghost, maybe.
Suck it.
Do you make
So-
Psy Trans,
You're
Mr.
hot,
Psy
dude.
Ghost?
Thanks, dude. In
My
thermal
thermal
red.
ratings are, yeah, exactly.
Bleep bloop.
Are you still going?
Bleep blop. So
Yeah, exactly. Hold up. Like adding a break.
Adding a break. No, sorry, Caleb. That was a question I asked a second ago
I just wanted to.
before the build. Yeah, yeah. And dude, that was just my opinion,
Give
and
the
maybe a little bit of
people-
Aaron's for sure. But like
Give the
that
people-
little break right before it, yeah.
Let the people breathe.
Let the people breathe.
Because you know when
Yeah.
you're at a show and like you're having a good time on liquor only,
Only
and
liquor.
and you're jumping around and it's just like the drop hits and you're really feeling it and you're getting down. You kind of need those just like, whew, dang, oh, that
Yeah.
was sick. That was
Take
sick.
a sec, fucking. Oh my bros, did you hear that last part? Like, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
it's like damn. So a little bit is cyberpunk. I don't know what cyberpunk is.
Really?
No. It's cyberpunk mid tempo.
Oh,
No,
because-
cyberpunk is a
okay.
whole nother thing. Just Google
No.
cyberpunk. It's you'll see.
Cyber-
Cyberpunk is a
cyber-
genre
It's an
of
aesthetic.
writing. Yeah.
It's an aesthetic.
It
yeah.
started from books.
That's a whole nother podcast,
Yep.
Yeah.
which we do have the book lounge on
The book lounge
Wednesdays.
podcast.
That's true.
We're reading Women of the Traveling
We're talking
Pants.
about writing books.
Women of the traveling.
Yeah.
We're women.
It's correct.
So
Okay.
Yeah, what were you gonna say, Caleb?
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, so like I was about to say.
okay.
So
So I'm going to preface this with, because I'm going to talk to you about processing. But on this particular thing that you process, I want to know like your idea, short and sweet, or you're not your idea, but your process, short and sweet from when you drop in a sample or make it in a synth to the master chain, how you treat this section of your song, and it's the sub. Specifically, like your bottom end sub. Like for me, for example, I put it in the sub, and distracted me over there with that
I'm sorry.
cigarette. So I drop in my sub. Say it's in serum or vital. Who cares?
Fido.
Vital.
And Baidu.
And I'm gonna, in this case, and obviously this can be an average. You don't have to say this is what you do every time. Is I'll saturate it, and then I'll pass the highs out, and then maybe I'll compress it a little bit on like a 4-to-1, not crazy. Kind of just get the if it's got an attack, kind of get those peaks to calm down. And then I'll saturate it again, pass it again, and then compress a little more vigorously on the group. Although it could just be on its own channel. It's just on the group because it's the last thing I do. And then I send it to the master where it gets multi-band treatment, just a small amount with everything else.
Who's your master?
So with that in mind, how do you guys process your subs?
Do you saturate?
Oh,
Yes.
okay. This is a great question. Okay, so Caleb and Dave,
But
those
not-
two floaters, they do, but I don't. I like a cleaner sub. But there's beauty in both. There's no right or wrong.
Again, it's always time and place.
Time and place, yeah.
So the thing about making music, and especially when you're new to it, is it's like, how do I do this? How do I do that? But it's like the thing that it's hard to understand is that there's not one endpoint for anything.
for
So-
anything.
It's like I remember when I was first learning, I'm just like, man, how does that guy? What is he using? Like what?
Give me that plug-in.
What super cool thing do I need to buy?
What is
basically
that special
like
technique?
Right.
Or
yeah,
whatever?
like what VST is being used? Like everyone's like, how do you make this noise in Skrillex's song "Nice Sprites" and Coca-Cola or something? Whatever the fuck it is, I don't know, dude. A bunch of Sprite and Corona, but
Corona.
it's
in the
always-
summertime.
what's hard to realize is that it's almost like you're always asking the wrong questions in a way, because it's about, there's just not a right answer to everything, because
Correct.
you're talking about a different tempo, you're talking about a different
Yeah.
key, you're talking about a different genre,
It's
you're
about
talking about
creativity.
different rhythms. So I think, like, I guess the biggest thing that I can really emphasize with what I'm really trying to say is that take a step back, look and listen to like the whole thing, and just try to understand what you're going for. Not necessarily you have to mold. It's like Play-Doh, you have to mold
Right.
this thing along the way, and it's like,
I do agree with you.
dude, it's
That
everyone. It's-
doesn't answer my question though.
What the fuck was the question?
Dude, yeah, I forgot about it too.
How do you treat your subs?
How do you treat your subs?
we went through a
Well,
whole thing.
I'm usually on
Just-
top.
Just short and sweet. Oh yeah. Okay. By the way, become a sub
Let's go.
today.
Hey, subscribe.
Remember to saturate those
No.
subs.
I
I'm
mean,
a
do
sub.
hit the follow button.
Yeah, do hit the
obviously.
and hit the bell if you want to be
dude.
notified whenever I lazily upload videos.
No. Don't hit the follow button. Don't subscribe.
What?
Don't.
Poon.
Don't do it, folks.
Don't.
How dare
Why?
you,
Why? It's reverse psychology.
So
Ow.
Don't do it. Definitely do not.
Don't.
Like.
Don't jump, Marissa. Okay. How do I treat my subs? Besides the first answer, which is correct.
sure, it's just more broad.
Put
They
a
are- they
saturator
are
on
broads,
and
yeah.
take the drive and put it all the way down in the negatives.
Well, okay.
It's a
so
good move.
So let me, with what I've been saying, it depends. How do I treat my subs? It depends. Am I making a song with guitar where I'm using a bass guitar? Am I making dubstep? I like to make a lot of instrumentals. I guess that's what the music that I am on here for will show you.
Right. How do you process your, like in this instance I'm talking about clean subs. Like your nice clean sub. Like what do you do?
Give me a genre.
Is it whatever you're making right now? Just
Whatever
like
I'm
for your
making right now.
nice clean bottom end sub in the drop area, you know?
So,
It's fat, it
I'm
drops
like-
in.
I'm like Austin.
Is
I,
it compressed a lot?
I don't.
Do you parallel compress it?
So I don't. I don't love compression a lot. One thing that I've been
Get
trying.
out of my sight.
No, I use it.
Kidding.
I use it. Okay. I don't love smashing compressors. What I typically do is I'll get the noise up to the level first, because it depends also. If I'm making electronic music, at the very end of it, that shit's gonna get slammed. You know what I mean? It's gonna get smashed. That's what's gonna happen.
Right. So what do? Do you not compress beforehand?
I'll usually, if I'm starting with a sub, so I'll give 2 examples. If I'm doing a sub in like a more instrumental type of song, I'll typically want it a little bit
When
cleaner.
Quinn says instrumental, he means there's no vocals and it's like a more like chill. Maybe it's got some piano in it.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too.
For breaking that down.
Some piano,
But,
ladies and gentlemen.
So I guess it would help if I elaborated the sound, because no one knows me.
People
You don't
call
fucking
it
know me.
instrumentals the way you call it instrumentals.
Or piano. No one says piano
Well,
the way like
that's
I do.
obvious.
No one
Nobody
says.
talks like you talk.
Is what I'm trying to say.
It's
dude.
unique.
Les
You're
Paul.
yeah.
Lesbian.
Les Paul.
Lesbian Paul.
Lesbian. If it's Les Paul, then it's a lesbian.
Mm-hmm. Right. Anyway.
So
Tell me I'm wrong.
okay. So two
Done as well.
2 examples. Let's do 2 examples. So an instrumental song. In my idea, what the hell that means is, it's basically an instrumental beat in the world of a little bit more bass heavy. So I
Sure.
just kind of, there's a little low end.
The
There's-
Ivy Labs of the world.
I suppose. Yeah, sure. But it's what key are you in? That's the first thing to start. So if I'm really designing a sub, I will tune. I love operator. Also, sampler and operator are entirely underutilized.
I agree with you.
Operator, you can
Mhm.
you can tune it. You can tune 3 layers. So I used to have a chart in my old studio, and it had all the frequencies for each note. And so it was just really easy. Just look over there. I'd have operator on fixed mode, and you can just do the D's like 73. So you go up to high end, it's like 157 or whatever above that. And then you go to the top end, and then whatever that is. So that you can literally build. You might not want to go 3 top, but I like to get it kind of to where the volume is going to be at the end game. So that way I can kind of just compress it nicely at the very end. I don't like to smash it too much. I'll try to do a lot of what I want to do with just EQ and volume, and then maybe just some really subtle compression. Like I just hate hitting it hard, really. So
Why is that? Have you like had bad experiences hitting it hard and then trying to crush it at the end, or what?
I'm talking specifically about instrumental music right now.
Sure, that's fine.
So because when I'm doing that, I want it to have I have a different end game versus
Right, you want it to
electronic.
really breathe and
Correct,
be dynamic.
exactly. So I'm not gonna have an instrumental song where I have the Les Paul or piano in it, and then I'm not gonna smash it to like -8. I want to keep that at like -12 or something. Like I like those to sit at like -12, maybe -10. Like I feel like that's kind of on the high end. Let's see. For instance, if I used a guitar bass, is there any way I can leave my subs dry and affect the mids high?
Well, you can affect the mids high if you want.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Mids
I'm
and
affecting the
high
mids
as
high right
shaper
now.
box thing. For instance,
I'm
if
mid-high.
I used
He just rereads it again.
a guitar bass, is there any way that I can leave my subs dry and
Well,
affect the mids and highs same as a shaper box thing?
the
So
guitar.
The-
Sorry, the bass guitar is going to sit above the sub anyway. So if you have a song, maybe it's future bass or something like that, and you have a real big low end bass, you can have the bass guitar be almost like a mid-range instrument.
Yeah, yeah,
So
for sure.
so those already are like, again, depends on the genre you're looking for, but you kind of talked about like trap and some future stuff, so I'm kind of assuming it's in that world. So big old low bass, trap noise, future house noise, that noise will probably be pretty fine. And then you just have the bass guitar over that, and you can just EQ that in nice and have that compressed nicely to where you're getting nice little, you're hearing it well, but it's not what's carrying it because you have the big one under it.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys remember that time when Vic came over, one of Homeboy's homies, and you guys put a bass guitar in your song, and he was like, "Yo, what is that bass sound? How did you make that?" or whatever.
It's like, that's actually a bass guitar.
Yeah, like
That
that.
is what a bass guitar sounds like.
I don't remember this.
Oh no,
That's hilarious.
Do you remember that?
nice. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
Right.
Anybody
It
else on
sounds
treating
super
subs?
unique. I think
Say what now?
we can move on.
Yeah, well, I didn't answer the electronic
whatever.
side. Like real quick, if I'm making a dubstep song, like I'll have that, like I'll smash that hard. You know what I mean?
That's just how it's done in that genre,
It's time.
yeah.
It's time and a place. But I don't like it. They still don't end up like those fucking packs you get all the fucking time. Like I hate those. I literally downloaded a few last night, just like kind of for fun because
Don't get spliced. You'll hate it.
I don't have. No, whatever. I don't have too many of those, but I hate them. They're always just like so intense, and I'm like you. I like it to be a little more, like kind of like it holds more in a way.
Mhm.
You know, it holds more. It's kind of rounded out, and if you do it right, it creates a nice little pump, like a little breath in a way, which I really like. You
Sounds
still-
like you have some upper harmonics going on though.
No, for sure. Like we talked about literally earlier in the podcast, but I don't. It is not the same process as the instrumentals either. You know,
Right, totally.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, so like you said, have yourself a couple different frequencies that you're working with. You don't just have a single sine at 40 hertz pushing. You have a single sine at 40 hertz, and then you have one at 80, a lot quieter, and then you compress them together a little bit. Maybe fuck with the phase. You want to have a nice big siney shape going that you're
Yeah.
making.
Just a chunk.
now
Yeah.
if you have a good oscilloscope,
Mm-hmm.
like I was saying earlier, bigger is also longer. Like I was saying earlier, but timing wise, so if you have an oscilloscope and you can see how you adjust the phase increases the length of the original of the bass tone,
Mm-hmm.
then that is essentially making it bigger.
Yeah. Mr. Bill says louder for longer.
Exactly. I was just
It
thinking about
goes-
that. Yeah.
Instead of being a perfect sine, it has like a sine and then it kind of bumps and then it bumps and then it comes back like a sine. So it's just like a little off of what a sine would look like. But maybe it's a little fatter looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you can visually. I think visual representations are good too. Spectrum. I use spectrum a lot. I want to see where something is hitting. For example, I was working on that song last night with the earbuds, and I'm like, okay, cool, sounds pretty good here. Listen to it other places, and I'm like, oh shit, I can't hear that. And one thing that if you're really really paying attention, you can see the differentiation of the frequencies, and then so you can kind of understand that you need to balance it more. It needs to be compressed a little bit more. It needs to be kind of honed in more. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and especially if you have that compared to where everything else is sitting at, then you have a good idea. Because I used to have a lot of problem with my songs many years back, just being like way bass heavy, and I was like, okay, cool. Pulled up like a Bass Nectar song, and pulled up like my song, and I'm like, oh fuck, those look so different.
Yeah.
And it was like specifically looking at like isotope, you just see the spectral graphics of it. And one thing that I would always notice is I had mountains. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't balanced properly. And that is something that you can trick your ears. They already get tricked because you're just constantly doing it.
Yep.
So you kind of have to like figure out ways to trade off senses in a way to like keep it fresh, because you'll get really, really lost in whatever you're doing at that moment. So visualization comparisons, audio comparisons, and just reference points.
100%.
Yeah.
Actually, 400%. I cannot
Goddamn right.
stress.
Always 400.
I cannot stress those things enough. The visual combined with listening intently, with those two things combined, and then referencing also those two things with tracks you already like and you already think sound good, so you know visually what sounds good, and then you can like work basically in any environment you want.
That's learning in a
But-
different way too.
Yeah, but that also takes forever.
Yeah.
That's not like you can't just like do that in a couple of months. That's
Yeah,
like,
you got to
gotta
make
gotta make-
hundreds of songs.
Yeah, you got to make shitloads of tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And
really
most
be
of
able to
them-
see.
Most of them have to burn. You have to light them on fire and watch them die,
Dude, like Usher
Exactly.
said,
and then steal their kick drums and then make new tracks.
Um,
Just like Usher said.
yeah, let it burn.
100%.
400.
I thought he said, yeah.
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 Didn't he say yeah?
Yeah.
He once said, yeah.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
said it a couple
Yeah.
times, but once
Yeah.
one time he said it a few times.
He did say it a few times in a row.
Yeah,
Yeah.
couple different ways, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very creative. It was very creative, really.
Yeah. Super
Yeah.
creative with his yas.
Yeah. Is that probably it?
Unless you guys want to talk about how creative we can get with Yaz.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Is that the
I'm
last
good with
topic?
being done. I'm
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
if there's one more topic, let's
Yeah.
fucking hit it quick. I think that's it, right?
What's your favorite rack? Go.
Boom.
My favorite rack.
Wet. It can be made by you too. It's just like, oh, it's this rack that splits the mids and the sides and it's cool. I don't care too much what you use it for. Just give me a short story.
My stereo beat repeat
Oh yeah.
machine.
Mm.
I've got a beat repeat.
Cool.
Imagine a beat repeat with an LFO on like the speed and the length, and the variant timing is variant, and chances is like pretty low, something like
okay,
that. I have
okay.
one of those with like LFOs controlling a bunch of different things
Mm.
on the left and the right channel separately in a rack. So it's just playing the sound
fun.
and
You
then
could just,
all
like,
the sound. It
It's just everywhere.
immediately
Yeah.
flips weird.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's sick.
that's cool.
Mm.
That's
That
fun
is
rack.
cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Poon, go.
So
Quick, go. We're running out of time, dude. We're
yeah. So my favorite rack, the Ruckus rack.
okay. What's the ruckus
Ruckus.
rack?
That's a sick name. Let's go.
The Ruckus rack.
You bring the
Okay.
ruckus.
What happens?
That's the arpeggiator nightmare, dude.
Okay.
Oh.
sick.
That's like the arpeggiator wet dream manipulator, dude.
Oh, that's how you make your sparkles?
Oh yeah.
It doesn't need to get that crazy,
Okay.
but dude, the Ruckus rack, dude, it's just layers. Okay, it's layers of arpeggiators, and so you have one knob that's mapped to multiple. It's a multiple knob mapping, and then you can create different layers of the arpeggiators that map further out as you twist it,
Right.
and then a third layer that
Oh.
maps out further.
Mm.
So it's just like it's like kind of an exponential arpeggiator.
Just
Whoa.
beating like MIDI rainfall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That
then
sounds cool.
and then you
Dude,
start.
that's the best way to put it. I love that so much. Yeah,
That
just
was-
all of it.
David's just like, oh yeah, I get it.
I
Can
know
you
exactly why.
can
to
you
use
get me
this.
that rack?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
The ruckus
Please.
rack.
Yeah.
So-
I want to put all of these.
We'll throw it up on the Discord.
Yeah, we want to throw them all up on
Mm.
the Discord.
Oh, that'd
Which
be fun.
bovine
Mm-hmm.
That'd be
guy? My bad, I can't even remember your name at this point.
Always400.com for the
Boyvin.
Discord link.
Oh yeah, the
Say hi.
Boyvin. You can go to
We've got like 10
always400.com
people in there, I think.
and
I'll probably
if you
have
go
to build it again.
if you go to contact,
It's in New Mexico.
you can join the Discord from there.
That's
There you
okay.
go.
We got time.
I can build it. The ruckus
Yeah.
rack is in New
Favorite
Mexico.
rack, Austin, go.
Famously known as the fat rack.
Oh, by who? Which a lot of people have fat racks.
That's true. The first person I knew who did a fat rack thing was Virtual Riot.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So basically, if you don't know, it's just so much distortion in OTT. If you're into that kind of thing, you know.
ATVs, OTT.
I want one of those. So yeah,
exactly.
give it to me so I can throw it on the Discord because I want one of those.
Dude, yeah, it's been so much fun.
I do want to say one thing though.
I want to say my rack first. Though.
No, this is like a
Okay,
warning almost. Like, because it's the same thing as like, I needed this, I needed that. I used to make the coolest fucking racks and I just ended up never using them.
Sure.
The ones I use the most are like the utility ones.
Yep.
Like balance left and right, balance mono stereo.
Mm.
Like maybe a little bit of just enhancements on like top ends, a little bit of spatial elements, like a little bit of reverb just
Mhm.
to expand a little bit of maybe Haas effect. The really like utility geared racks were the ones I actually ended up using. I made the coolest, stupidest, weirdest ones, and I'm just like, I just feel like I never used them.
Mm.
You know, I don't
Right.
know. Those are useful,
Yeah, those are super
Definitely make
super
Just-
useful.
Yeah.
and that's just me.
Or
So
download them.
so knowing what you're gonna use and having it organized in that way, so you're not just like, because I had all kinds of things here, and I'm like, I never use that. So whatever. I should
Mhm.
probably have deleted them. Keep it clean. Know what you use. You know.
What about you, Caleb?
Mine is actually the first rack I ever made. I call it
Really?
the dub rack. Yeah, I made it when I first got Tal Dub, right? It's by Tal.
Mm-hmm.
So what it is it's a delay rack that allows you to throw delay sends. It's just a wet and a dry. On the wet, you have a utility, and then after the utility, you have a fully wet delay plugin set to your choosing, and you map the gain on the utility before that to a knob, and you can just throw it at the end of the phrase or at the end of a percussion thing, and it will allow the echo to go out, but now it's not gonna try and delay basically the whole thing, and you don't have to like resample it or anything
Yeah.
like that.
You're automating the volume before the delay plugin
Right.
within that chain.
So it
Mhm.
allows it to echo on just the bit that you turned it up for.
Nice. That's
Um,
fun. That's
But what you kind of have to do, which I got to redo it, is you got to turn down as you turn up the utility. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, please do.
But
Give
Yeah,
it a
you-
shot,
yeah,
my
you can
dude.
do it unlimited
Record
reps.
the whole way.
yeah.
But when you turn
Your
up
computer will
the
thank you.
utility, you have to turn down the chain. Otherwise, if it's a fast delay, because then you'll get that delay
Just don't wear
coming through that
headphones.
chain. But that one's sick, especially if you're just kind of
Mhm.
throwing it on
Yeah.
for the throws, and then when you find the throw and it's really good, then you record it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just remove the delay thing, and you're good to go. But that's like a quick and easy way, and I use that shit on like every track several times. It's the best.
I will say also, the drum rack with a bunch of samplers of noises you resampled is so much fun.
Yeah.
Mm.
You
I
know,
can see
that's a
yeah.
simple rack. That's a simple rack. You make noises, record them in a beat repeat with like a grain delay, and just fucking do a bunch of stupid things,
You're a
twist
simple
some
rack.
knobs, and then get that
And
audio.
then you get your fucking finger drumming on.
You reverse it, you stretch it out, you do whatever you want to it. You transpose it. You can do textures. Textures is
I
nice.
honestly should do that.
You can do tones.
It's probably a good idea.
Just like stretch it open, see what's there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
just see what you got, resample that, put it in a drum rack, layer them out multiple ways, change the start points. Have some
Good to
fun.
go.
Y'all, it's been good.
We love you guys.
It's about that time.
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you, INRNME.
Absolutely.
What a
Aaron
great
Harpoon.
episode this is.
Aaron Enemy.
We love you.
Yeah,
We love you all out there.
grinded it out this episode.